And I'm going to do my little thing to go to Facebook. Go to group. And it should pop up and tell us we're going live in just a second. There we go.
All right. Look,
So
mine says we're streaming live.
We are live on Facebook. So I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. This is going to be our fun interview with Chris. I think didn't we do a one-on-one interview when we first met too?
I think at the very beginning of the group.
I don't think I recorded those. That would be a good one to go back on and see how much things have changed from when we first started talking.
We were just so willy-nilly.
I don't think any of us knew what our plans were. And now that we've kind of got together, we put some more structure to what we're doing. Now it's time, I think, I wanted to introduce everybody to the leadership team that is going to take it to the next level so that now we can start really building a brand around what we do and helping everybody grow their businesses, which is the most important, right? So, Chris, thank you for joining me. To give everybody a little background, when I first met Chris, she is like the event guru. And so when I first started talking to her and she was telling me these events she did, and we would talk about, we do events or fundraisers where we raise $3,000 and that's big. And then we talk to Chris and it's like, oh my gosh, it expands your mind so much thinking about all the stuff that you do. So Chris, are you originally from Chicago?
No, I was born in Ohio, about an hour east of Cleveland, in a teeny tiny little town that nobody's ever heard of called Ashtabula. And it's right on Lake Erie. And I was there until probably 5th grade, I think, and then moved to Northwest Indiana. And that's where I went to high school and went to college at Purdue. And then in my 20s, I got a job that transferred me to Illinois. So I moved to Illinois in my 20s. And that's how I ended up here.
What did you study at Purdue? How did I not know that? What did you study?
I was one of those communication majors. So I learned how to talk real good. That's about it. The useless degree.
So then you moved to Chicago in your 20s. And I know before real estate,
I was an interior designer in town for about 20 years. I'm going to shorten a long story, but I bought a franchise in my early 20s called Decorating Den. Some of you may remember. I think there might even still be around in some states. And was put through their education process in owning that franchise in my 20s. And I did it with my mother for about 5 or 6 years until if I wanted to continue to love my mother, I couldn't work with her anymore. So she took over the franchise and I went to work for a larger design firm here in Naperville, Illinois.
Gotcha. And then when did you make the jump to real estate?
2018.
Was when you finally made the jump?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had already been kind of in touch with some agents in town that I knew because they would refer their clients to me for design, interior design, and I would stage some of their listings for them. So I knew quite a few agents in town. And one had approached me and we had coffee and said, I was expressing that I was kind of burnt out on the industry that I was in. And I saw a shift happening where, younger generation does not go into custom interior design like they used to. They were buying from Pottery Barn and Crate and Barrel and all of that. So we saw my custom design business go down tremendously in the past even 10 years. So that agent said to me, gosh, Chris, with your database, you've been in so many homes in the area, you should be a realtor. And after I had my coffee with her, I went home that night and said to my husband, do you care if I quit my job and take real estate classes and become a realtor? And he was just like, I don't care. I just want my wife back, because I was so miserable. And so, voila, here I am. And I still do both, but I don't take on a lot of full design projects anymore. I really just stage my listing, couple up, and do it for a couple other agents, and help my buyers if they need things when they move into a new home.
You know what just dawned on me? So I think probably all of us have a sheet we give to people about staging their home, getting it ready for pictures, stuff like that. I wonder if we need one that's specific to animals. Make sure you hide the dog bed. Make sure, like that adds these little things in there that we don't think about when we're owning the house and have animals, but that might deter people who are buying.
Right. I mean, I've showed homes where people left cat dishes with cat food on them on top of the kitchen counter. Ew.
I had a cat during an open house come in and poop on the living room floor. During the open house while we were standing. It was
that's how they thought about getting rid of their home.
It was my friend who was a rescue person, and she would take in like all these cats that were like 16, 17, 18 years old. And she was kind of like a hospice for cats. But yeah, he just stared us right in the eye and was like, I'm not moving.
Yeah, you're not buying this house. This is my home.
But this was the 2020 market, and the people who saw it happen bought the house. So what do you say?
And paid $20,000 over for it.
Right. It's very different, but we were just talking about that. We'll have to do a meeting or a mastermind pretty soon about kind of the shifting market, because we're just.
He's like, are you talking about cats?
I have a giant cat tree, but I blurred myself so we didn't have to see that part. Let me look. I had a whole bunch of questions that I put together. Why didn't we ask how many animals do you have? What animals do you have?
Currently we just have 2 cats, Oscar and Felix. They're brothers that we rescued in 2020 because we had just lost one of our dogs, and we had father and son dogs, and we lost the son, and the father dog kind of went into mourning, and we thought, why not get 2 kittens? It might perk him up. And it sure did. I think it did. I think it did help. The kittens loved him. They laid on him. I think they thought he was their new mother. And but then about 6 months after that, we lost the other dog. So we're not sure if, he basically died of a broken heart, because my vet did tell me that is possible. And I basically stayed home that 6 months with him and took care of him. So so our hearts are still broken. We think it's going to be a while before we can do dog again, but we will. I know that we will. So the 2 cats are nice to have at least some motion in the house, and continue to have 2 animals to care for.
Well, and you still travel quite a bit and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah, I am now. We have not been without dogs. Joe and I have been married going on 17 years. We have not been without a dog. Those 17 years. So we're finally like, let's do some travel where we don't have to worry about having somebody come and stay for even though we would have somebody come and stay with the dogs, we would still worry about them the entire trip. And we're the ones, on the phone calling the pet sitter. How are they? Can you send pictures? Like we're freaks about it. We don't have children. We are those stereotypical people that their animals are their children.
I understand mourning pets. I'm the other way. Like I think I was without a dog for 2 weeks, and Ashley was like, "You have to go get an animal. You're weird." But
Yeah.
but I think everybody's different, and I certainly can understand that. What else do we? Oh, let's get into a little professional stuff since we talked a little bit about it.
Okay.
What's your favorite thing about real estate?
Oh, well, I I like to be what I'm going to call a community connector. So I love when I have people that are new in from another state and they need to know where everything is or groups to join or need that list of handymen, renovation people. I have that all prepared and I love to make introductions and connect people to the community, especially if they're looking to get involved in different charities that I'm involved with or part of the Chamber of Commerce. I love bringing my clients as guests to those things. So I think it goes beyond just buying and selling a house. I want to embrace them and part of the community.
You're kind of a networking. That's kind of your business niche, right?
Yeah, I am not a person that makes a lot of phone calls. I've never done postcard farming. I break all those what realtors should do rules. And I'm a face-to-face person. I think this is a relationship business. And I may not do as many by count transactions as other people do. And I'm perfectly fine with that because I like it to be a close-knit relationship with my clients.
I get that. What's your biggest struggle in real estate? Making phone calls and sending out mailers?
Yeah, no, I don't struggle because I don't even try. It's not a struggle if you don't try. I am starting to hit a wall with social media. And I just reached out today for help on that. Because now I'm juggling real estate, business and my investment home that's a rental. And now I'm teaching others. I have a teaching aspect to that. So in a sense, it's 3 different aspects of my business I'm trying to social media.
Right.
So I think I've finally gotten to where I'm like, I have a million ideas in my head, but I don't have time to get them all out and see them the way I want to see them on social media.
Maybe I need to patent Joe's idea box.
Yeah. Because boy, I definitely am squirrel,
Yeah.
On to the next thing.
Yeah, I get that. I know social media, the hard thing is that there's 1,000 gurus, probably 100,000 gurus, and none of them actually have any more information than the rest of us.
They do. I agree. It's nothing I can't do. It's sitting down and having the time to do it.
Yeah, taking the time and getting some sort of schedule around it, I know is always a challenge. Right. I think everybody has that challenge. What's your goals? Where do you see your business 3 years from now?
Because I've gotten into more of the aspect of real estate investing, I would love to have my business run on nothing but referrals. I'm only going to take referrals locally and those referring to me from out of state, and hopefully have 3 more investment properties that are generating the income that my one is right now.
So in 3 years, you want to have 3 more Airbnbs?
Yeah.
Short STRs, I guess is what we're calling them now.
STRs, right? Yeah, I hate acronyms, but
thing.
it is short-term rental or vacation rental properties.
And that's, I think, one of the things that's going to be interesting as we grow Real Estate Pet Project, watching you grow that side and help other people grow that. One of the things, I was talking to a buddy of mine that does, like, they help people when you're, like, if you are wealthy and you pass away and you want to donate real estate, there's companies now that will take that and then pay the proceeds out to the charity.
Yeah.
We were talking with them. I would love to, by the time I die, have 40 rentals that I just turn into a trust for the rescue. Like, how cool would that be?
That's what Joe and I are planning on. My husband, Joe, his name is Joe too.
He's like the second coolest Joe you know.
Yes. Yeah. Joe's.
That I don't know that anybody else is doing that yet, and I think it would be really cool. I think it would be really cool to do. And now that we're learning all these different ways to take advantage of those properties for people, when rather than having to sell it and give the money, there's other ways for them to make the money off of it, or the heirs to make the money off of it.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, I'll back up. I mean, I'm on the board of directors at the Naperville Humane Society, is my pet involvement. And we often will get, sometimes anonymous and sometimes not, large in donations that come from somebody's estate upon their death.
So we'll talk about this more, but yeah, I might bring Blaine on and have him talk about that one day, just because it's interesting what they do, because they basically take it over so that they don't have to worry about how it all manages and all that kind of stuff. So what is your rescue involvement? Who do you work with primarily?
Primarily the Naperville area. I say area because we service a larger area than just Naperville, Illinois. Pretty much all of DuPage County we service. It's the local Humane Society, which most people, the public anyway, doesn't realize that just because you're called a Humane Society doesn't mean you have affiliation or funding from the National Humane Society. Doesn't work that way. Still runs 100% on donations and fundraising. I am head of the fundraising committee on the board of directors. So that's my jam. I love coming up with ideas for events and how to raise more money.
And we've talked about this a dozen times, but what's your favorite? We'll do two. What's your favorite event, like in-person event? And then we'll talk about what was your favorite fundraiser? What was your favorite in-person event?
Well, we often have wine events. Often. And those are always fun because that's when people are gathered around, tables, and we're doing an interactive wine tasting, usually with food, and people open up and they talk and they share. And they're more intimate than a large gala. If we have a large gala, I mean, there's usually over 200 people there. It's like being at a wedding. You don't get to talk to everybody, and it's loud. Where when we have these little small wine tasting events, we've had beer ones as well. I'm just not a big beer drinker, but those are, I think, more fun because I meet more people that way.
Yeah. So what's your favorite fundraiser that you've done?
Well, you guys know about the Airstream raffle I did last year. And that was simply came out of a brainstorming session where I said, why don't we just auction off something big? And everyone looked at me and said, like what? Like, what do you mean by big? And I said, well, sometimes I see, places that are, raffling off a Corvette or, some sort of fancy car. Why don't we do an Airstream? Because that was right at the boom of when Airstreams were really gaining their second wind, if you will.
Their trendiness again, right?
Their trendiness again. And I, in my Rolodex of memory, said, oh my gosh, my best friend used to date the guy back in our 20s that is now president of Airstream. He is the president of Airstream. So I sent him an email and I was just like, I don't know if you remember me, but surely you remember my friend Kim that you dated 30 years ago. And here's what I'm doing. Wondered if you could put me in contact with a local dealership that might be willing to partner with us on this. And he made the phone call to the local dealership, because a lot of times if you try to approach a dealership, whether it be a car dealership or whatever, they don't quite get it. They think they're going to have to give away something and it's going to cost them money.
Right.
And that is not the deal. The deal that we had with Airstream was they were going to help us promote the event through their social media, and we were going to sell 1,500 tickets. And out of those proceeds, we were going to pay them wholesale price for the Airstream, should the person take the Airstream, because they also had the option to take $35,000 in cash instead of the Airstream.
Which is what they did, right?
Which is what they did.
Which saved you how much?
It saved us about $10,000.
Right. So, and what did you guys make on that?
About $120,000 in 4 months' time with zero manpower. So really, it was just placing Facebook ads, sharing, all of volunteers sharing posts on their social media, and then Airstream was putting out an ad about once every 3 weeks. And that
was your local one? Was your local one doing it too?
Corporate, no, the local one ended up really not helping us that much. But Airstream Corporate, their marketing department, put out ads across the nation. And we had a lot of ticket sales from other states. But by miracle, somebody here local was the ticket that we drew. So, because it could have been really all 50 states.
Well, and what did you guys end up doing with the bourbon one?
The bourbon one ran the same way. So we had another board member donate his rare bourbon collection. I'm still not unclear about what the true value of that bourbon collection is, but people who know bourbons know that it was kind of like a priceless collection, because there were bottles in that collection that you cannot buy anymore. And he donated the whole collection. So we did the same thing. Tickets were $100. We were going to sell, I think, up to 2,000 tickets. And then there were cash prizes below that bourbon. If you didn't win the bourbon, we were pulling for some cash prizes. And we ended up selling just about 1,500 tickets. So that had zero cost to us because it was donated. So we ended up doing, $150,000 in 4 months' time.
That's amazing. I mean, I think showing a rescue how to do one of those events a year would fund a lot of our rescue friends. Like a single one of those events. Yeah. Would fund the entire rescue.
And that's what we're doing is one a year. So I'm already thinking about what are we going to do next year.
So for Real Estate Pet Project, everybody, just so you know, Chris is kind of our resident, hey, how do we raise money person? So, as we do masterminds around that with both rescue folks and with agents around different events, she's our guru when it comes to these coming up, thinking big when it comes to events, right? Because
I just started getting into the mindset, I see we do a lot of small events at the shelter, and that's okay because you do have to have a community feel good, things with families, that kind of thing. But I look about how much manpower that takes and volunteers running around. And to me, it's like, okay, get into the mindset that it's not even worth it if you can't make $50,000. If you can't make $50,000, it's not even worth it to get out of bed. How are we going to do this and make at least $50,000?
Yeah. And I think we all need to be looking at, I think we all get trapped into that limited mindset, right? We hear about that all the time, right? We always hit our ceiling. And I think having you on board, everybody can see, wait a minute, the ceiling's a lot higher than most of us really recognize was there.
And, case in point with the Airstream guy, I'm always amazed at what people will do if you just simply ask. But most people don't even make it past that. They can't imagine just, like, who cares? If they say no, you move on. if you want to, ask something of, I don't know, Oprah Winfrey, go ahead, give it a whirl, ask, you may get through, you may not, you might get a no, who cares?
Yeah. And one of the things, there's a lesson in what you did, that you start at the top, try to find that president, because everybody will listen. I used to do this in advertising when I was doing sales, is I would try to find the top person I could talk to, because if I could talk to this person, whoever they tell me to talk to is going to listen. Because if I call you and say, hey, Chris, your boss told me to talk to you.
Right.
You're going to answer. If I have to get kicked up from the bottom, it's a lot harder.
Right. Because that manager or that, district manager running that place of business, when they hear, such and such, rescue organization, their mind immediately goes to, oh, what are they going to ask me for? Or, business hasn't been that good, I can't afford to give anything right now. That's where their mind automatically goes.
Yeah. What's your favorite feel-good story from rescue?
Oh, we have so many. It's hard. So many. Oh, we just adopted out. We had it at the shelter for quite some time because we had a Bengal cat, a very large Bengal cat that someone brought into us that had been hit by a car, and its leg was in pretty bad shape. And how expensive Bengal type cats are. So this was somebody's cat.
Oh yeah.
So of course we put out the bulletins and all of this that, we had found the cat, that it's, we put it in foster care, and the vet care right away. Vet told us that the leg was going to have to be amputated. So I don't know if whoever owned it, decided they weren't going to claim it because maybe they could not afford the medical bills, but we even put on the site that we were raising money, that the owner would not need to pay for medical bills, that we would pay for the amputation. And still no one came forward. But we had a list of about 100 people who wanted to adopt that cat after it was out. So he went through surgery and went into foster care and had a physical therapist working. He was up and running on 3 legs so fast, like nothing had even happened to him. And he was just adopted out last week. So
that's awesome. I have a cat that when I rescued the cat, they told me it was a Bengal. It's not, it's just a tabby cat, but
yeah. This one definitely looks like a small tiger. Yeah.
If you could be any animal, what would you be?
Oh, see, I used to say dog because I'm a huge dog lover, but now I'm going to say cat because, they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They lay around, bask in the sun. That's all I want to have to do all day is just bask in the sun.
Doesn't sound bad, does it?
No.
What's your favorite quote?
They don't have to go outside to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, they do get to use the bathroom indoors. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You don't have to go out in the cold.
Don't have to go out in the cold.
That's a good point. What's your favorite quote?
I should have written this down ahead of time.
Yeah, you should have. Do you have one?
No, probably not. I mean, no, there's not one that I say all the time or one I like reading right when other people post quotes and stuff on I follow Richard Branson on LinkedIn. I like to see his quotes every day. So I
met him.
I love him.
I met him when I used to
work for him on the island.
When I used to do like high-end security meet and greet for the company I had, I met him. I met a lot of people, but the 3 people who ever shook my hand in doing that were Sir Richard Branson, Russell Simmons from Def Jam
Def
Records,
Jam.
and Warren Buffett. They were the only three that ever shook my hand, and they were also the three by far wealthiest people that I ever met. And that always stuck with me, that those people, Sir Richard Branson is really interesting.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. I can imagine working for him is like working for your uncle.
I don't know, but I'd be willing to throw everything away and go work on his island.
He's basically he's like Elon Musk. He just, whatever he decides he's going to do, he just goes and does it.
Yeah.
We used to take care of their pilots for Virgin when he had Virgin Airlines, which is Virgin Airlines still around? Mm-hmm. Is it? It's amazing.
Now he's got the cruise line.
Oh, does he?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
All adult cruise ship. No kids.
Yeah.
That would be Joe and I's perfect cruise.
I wonder if I can run away to him. Do they have somewhere to drop your kids off on the way? What else should we know about you, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
What else should we know about you?
Well, you can tell by my wall behind me, I love music. I collect album covers because I think they're the coolest art. That is a forgotten art of album covers. I think kids nowadays are starting to get back into it. I mean, we have a couple album stores that have popped up over the past couple of years around here. And the newer kids are going to look at them and get turntables. I don't so much play them anymore because the sound quality is not great, but and most of them are scratched. You know, and that's funny. It's like I always ask people, do you remember an album that you used to play over and over and over again, and that it skipped in a certain spot? And now today, when you hear that song, you remember exactly where your album used to skip. I do on several.
So what's your favorite, not favorite band, but favorite album?
Oh, the album for the art or the album for the body of work?
For the body of work.
Oh, I'm going to turn on for a sec. You know, I'm going to have to go with Prince, I think, on that one. Although Queen and Freddie Mercury is my favorite of all time. So it would be a close match between Freddie and Prince.
I think Prince, even as much as people loved him, will still always be underappreciated.
Right, because he was a true artist in every, the greatest guitar player and lyric writer, and yeah.
Absolutely, I love Prince. So that was my daughter's outfit for 80s day at school.
I know, I remember that. That was the cutest damn thing. I loved it.
And my boys sing "Let's Go Crazy" on the way to hockey, so that's their pump up song. So, what else am I missing? What else am I missing about you, Jamie? What did I miss? You're muted.
I'm looking through questions. I don't see anything. I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I just think that I would like to know, and I think our people might like to know, and I don't know if I missed this at the very beginning, so I apologize for being late. What is exciting to you about the real estate pet project? Where do you want to see it?
Oh,
where do you want to see it go?
Why we're all doing this
Why are we here?
Well, first I was drawn to it because I thought I was not personally doing a very good job of marketing myself, that I even had an involvement with the local Humane Society. So I thought, oh, well, okay, this is great. A bunch of like-minded people. We can share marketing ideas. They teach us not to be a secret agent, a secret real estate agent. Why am I being a secret volunteer for, and not marrying the two and letting my clients know that I'm involved? Jamie, I think you do that the best. People know me from the events, yes, but was I sharing that on social media and just talking about it at every networking event? No, I wasn't. So I think it's helped me to remind myself I need to do that, and also hoping that we can all share with each other ideas on how to do that better. And then I thought, gosh, what a powerful way to have, what do we have, 1,100 members now? We have 1,100 agents across the country who are committed to the same niche thing. Oh, here's a quote I like: your niche will make you rich. That's a quote that I love.
There's riches in the niches.
Riches are in the niches, either way. We're all connected by this same niche. Well, how wonderful is it that we can share referrals with each other, knowing that part of that money that we're going back and forth with is going to help our same like-minded cause.
Absolutely. And those agents, you know, we've talked about this, putting together some standards from that sense that, you know, there's things that we know to look for in an area because we're rescue agents that not everybody else thinks about, you know. I mean, most people don't even think about, hey, I need to make sure that there's not breed restrictions. And that should be, for all of us, that should be one of the first things we know about our area.
In HOAs, for sure.
Yeah, or at least how to find it. We were talking about that the one day. You might not know every condo complex, but you certainly should know how to open a HOA restrictions and find it.
Find out, right. And now we have so many younger people moving that want to know if they can have chickens on the property. We have a lot that want chicken coops. And there are some areas that allow it. So to try to navigate and find those in the suburbs isn't, you know, some agents might go, no, you can't have chickens in the suburbs. Are you crazy? But you can in some areas.
And it's becoming more that more places are allowing chickens now. So they had restricted them for years, and now it's coming back. And a lot of places you can't have roosters. You can only have chickens.
They are loud.
But I know it seems like it's coming back because this whole trend towards community garden, backyard.
Farm fresh eggs and having a garden. Yeah,
that is. I think the referral piece, and we were talking about this the other day, what we have 17 in the first 10 months. You know, I think as we continue to grow what we do and tell people what we do together, that referral base is going to grow exponentially.
Right. And I think with our group having a common niche, I encourage everybody on here to maybe schedule one-on-ones with different agents to get to know each other better. Because just like I feel like building my real estate is about relationship and really knowing that person, that's what it takes to get good referrals from other agents.
Absolutely. Jamie, what did I miss?
I think you did a good job. You got most everything there.
See, that communication degree did something. So glad I spent all that money on that education.
Right.
What I will say, because I really appreciate you being a part of Real Estate Pet Project and all you do to help out. I think we've got some big things on the horizon. And I know as we start looking at what we can do to help agents, anything that revolves around events and fundraising, you're our guru. You're our how do we make this $3,000 event a $30,000 event?
Right. Think bigger.
And I think that's one thing that we as a group can really help change. So I appreciate you being a part of it. I appreciate you letting me dig into you here a little bit. And we're going to do the interview with Jamie on Friday at the same time at noon. So guys, thank you all so much. And then on Thursday, I'll have to double check, but there's an event on Thursday where we're actually going to get together and help Joanna plan her event. So she's trying to do her very first event, and we're going to all get together.
That's at 11 a.m. Eastern.
I don't know that I had that on my calendar. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes, so that's Thursday, 11 Eastern. So what is that?
That's what I have. So hopefully I didn't.
Yeah.
10 Central. 10 Central.
Yeah.
10 Central. And we're going to help her. She said she's never done this type of event, or she's never done an event. And so we're all going to get together and share our pitfalls and best practices kind of thing. So
Sounds
guys,
great.
thank you all so much. And as always, have your pet spayed or neutered.
Spayed and neutered.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.